Welcome back to Real Life Reviews, and in this video we're going to take a quick look at the Topeak Mini 20 Pro. A small multi-tool, comes in a really neat little neoprene pouch, and it's really well made. It's solid. It's also got a little bonus in the tail, because most multi-tools will name themselves over how many functions they have. 20, you would expect 20. Well, stick around and see. Let's deal with the obvious first. It's called a Mini, and it is pretty small. If I pick up the Hexus X or 10, then you can see side by side, it is significantly smaller. Not just in length, but also in chunkiness and width. And that's the same pretty much across the board. If I pick up the Blackburn, which we reviewed a short while ago, again, fairly significant difference in size. And even with a freebie that comes with bikes and etc., this is the Treads one, it's still significantly smaller. So in essence, what are you getting that's particularly different, that's a bonus? It's size, not necessarily weight. We weighed the Hexus X at 167 grams. The Mini Pro here, the Mini 20 Pro, we weigh in at 154 grams, but add 8 grams for the pouch and you get 162. So a 5 gram difference between this and the Hexus X. As the name suggests, this multi-tool is a 20 tool multi-tool. And let's start with the most obvious, the tool that we probably on a day-to-day as we're riding use the most, the hex, for just tightening up the odd little bolt or whatever. So on one side, let's come to here, we have, let's stand him up, we have 3 of the key hexes. And it's worth saying that we have the whole range on here. We have a 10, an 8, a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2.5 and a 2. We actually have a duplicate on the 3, but I'll come to that in a moment. On this side here, obviously the small one there is the 2.5. We then have a 3 and we have a 5mm. If I turn the tool round, on the other side, it looks like we've got maybe 4 there, but we actually have 5. The L-shaped one, which gives you a little bit more grip and torque on it, is the 2mm. And then if I come round, we have in the middle a 4mm. On one end we have a 6, and then here we have a double. So as it stands, that's a 10mm. If I pop that off, then we have an 8mm. And I'll just try to show you. We have a quality, it's good. We have a, there we are, a sprung knobble, new word, sprung knobble that holds the 10mm on in place so you don't lose it. Turning the tool back round, returning to the other end, we have our Torx tools. So if I just, there we go, we have 2. We have the 2 most common, so we have a T10 and a T25. And next to those, if I push them up and drop the Torx down, we have our 2 screwdriver bits. We have a Phillips and we have a flathead. Once again, spinning it back round, for the last 2 tools on the other end, if I just spin them round, there's one of them. It's a Tyre Lever. Now, I mentioned the Tyre Lever with a little bit of a word of caution. It's not very long, and if you're not careful, you end up putting it in straight line, obviously, with the tool to get more torque, but this is a metal Tyre Lever. And if you're working with carbon rims, then you need to be really, really careful. And even Topeak recommend that you pack some plastic tyre levers along with this. That is really a get out of jail tyre lever, and you need to be very careful when you use it. It's short and it's metal. On the other side, we have one of those tools that, if I say doubles up, I should say triples up really, that has a number of functions or uses. So the blade elements, you can see it's got like a pincer blades, maybe a crab's claw there. They're for holding your spokes, in particular aero bladed spokes, so that when you tighten them, you don't twist them. That's a neat little touch. When you're truing wheels, it's kind of something you take for granted. You use the tool for it if you do your own wheel truing. But having one on here, often we have a tensioner, but we don't have something to stop the spokes twisting. So that's what that's for. And then you can see a hole underneath it, and that's a pin breaker. That's for breaking off, if you're inserting a pin into the chain, that's for breaking off your pin. And a third use, this tool, which some of you will appreciate, is bottle opener. So we have a bottle opener on the tool, and there are a number of companies and firms making multi-tools at the moment showing and having a bottle opener. Now let's move to the other side of the multi-tool, and what we have here is the chain tool. This is a chain tool that is used by removing it from the multi-tool, and the wheel here we undo, so I simply unscrew that wheel, and in real time, there we go, pull the wheel out, and the chain tool itself comes off the multi-tool. We can then reinsert that wheel and screw, and that becomes our linkage breaker or pin placement. There we go, and we have our chain breaker. If your fingers aren't strong enough, which they're probably not going to be, the end is a 4mm, and you use the 4mm from the tool to tighten and break the chain. And similarly, if you're using a pin to refit the chain, not a multi-link, then, or quick link rather, then again use the 4mm to push the pin in, and you've got that nice little tool on here to break the pin. So that's really quite good actually. Whilst we're on fixing the chain, on the side of the chain tool we have a little link hook, and I'll try not to get my fingers in the way. There it is. A little tip to get this off. It's actually held on really quite well. You shouldn't, touch wood, you shouldn't lose this. To get it off, take the Phillips screwdriver. Don't try and yank it or anything. Just simply take the screwdriver from the outside and just very carefully, I'm trying to do this holding up, just push the screwdriver in, and it will just pop off into your fingers just like that. Okay, and another little tip, when you put it back, just make sure it's hooked on properly, and when it's hooked on properly it is quite hard to get off. The other way of taking the chain hook off is to get your thumb on the inside of the tool, and I'll use my fingers so you can see, but normally you would use your thumb with it facing towards you, and just carefully pull it to the side, and again it will come off quite easily. Just resist the temptation to try and flick it off from the ends. You'll end up getting the metal in your thumb or whatever, or pinging it into the long grass, and you won't be able to recover it. Now I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the hexes that there was a doubling up or a duplication of the 3mm. Well, that's here, that's on the chain tool, and it's just there. And what you can do with that is you can poke that and it stands up. What's the point of that, you might ask? Well, Topeak have done this for a little while now, but Topeak's multi-tools, you can tighten the multi-tool itself so that your hexes and your screwdriver bits, your torques, etc. are either tighter or looser, and you can set it to how you actually want it yourself. So there we have, in both ends, both sides, you can tighten up your multi-tool. So there is a second 3mm hex for that job. We mentioned earlier in passing spoke tensioning, because we had our nice little tool to stop us twisting the spokes. Well, we have 4 different spoke keys on here. They all appear on the chain tool, and 3 of them are on the top. And starting from this side, we have our 14G, our 15G, and our Shimano. And then if I turn it round to the side, you can see here we have our Mavic M7. So we've got a good range of spoke keys that will cover most people in most circumstances. Now I've got a big shout out for Topeak here. They've called this the Mini 20 Pro, 20 function multi-tool. And a lot of multi-tools, the makers, They exaggerate how many uses it's really got. They put in little things that you don't need, and there's maybe, in a 20 function multi-tool, there's maybe 17 or 18 real ones, and then there's 2 or 3 sort of little bonus little ones that you'll never come across. Well, this tool is a bit different because we've got 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, a second 3, 2.5 and 2mm hexes. That's 9. We've got 2 screwdrivers, 11. We've got 2 Torx, 12, 13. We've got a Tyre Lever, 14. We've then got our bottle opener, 15, that's got our chain pin tool on it, 16, and our spoke stopping it twisting tool, whatever you want to call it, 17. We've then got our chain tool for breaking the chain, 18. And we've also got on that chain tool a pin for holding the chain together, 19. And then we've got 4 different spoke tensioners, 23. Hang on a second, we're well above 20, and I might have missed something else out. So well done Topeak, that's a great call. Conclusions then. Is this the tool for you? Well, it might and it might not be. It's got a lot of functions and it's quite small. So first up, if space really is of a premium on your bike or on your person, then this really could be the tool for you. If it's weight you're interested in, you're not going to make a major weight saving by having this small tool. Practicality, well, yes, it covers the bases as far as I'm concerned, but care over tyre levers, and it's a little bit fiddly. If I have a criticism of this tool, it's that when you pull the bits and pieces out to use them, they are a little bit fiddly, and you've just got to be really careful making sure you put things in, use fingers to hold them in position, get your pressure right, and so that you don't strip threads or suddenly ping off and damage carbon or whatever. Get your pressure right and actually be really careful as you use it. Now, many of you will say that's true of any multi-tool. However, we're comparing this to something like Topeak's own Hexus 10 or X. This is much more fiddly to use. So size, it's small, it's great. Weight, not a major difference. Ease of use, not the easiest one to use, slightly fiddly, but does it cover the bases? Yes, it does. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. If you're thinking of buying this multi-tool, or for that matter, any of the Topeak multi-tools, well, in the description down below is a link to Wiggle. And you can get some great deals there, and if you use that link you'll be doing the channel a huge favour. You spend no more, you possibly get some good deals actually, but we get a tiny percentage of what you spend, and that helps keep the channel going. If you haven't yet subscribed, please just click on the little round picture to that corner, and on the other corner click there to pop along to our website. If you want to see a review of the Topeak Hexus X, well, that's just up there, and a review of the Blackburn Wayside, that's just up there. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.